What's up guys, welcome back to the Streets YouTube channel. Game week 4 has come and gone, and it was a game week of big scorelines. 9 out of 10 games had at least 3 goals in the game, with only Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest not. And obviously it was a game week of hat-tricks as well. 3 hat-tricks gone in. We'll talk about them a little later, but first we're going to start with the early kickoff of the weekend, and that was Luton versus West Ham. I thought that first game, Kenilworth Road, Luton would be well up for this, and it turns out the quality just got the better of them on the day. They didn't, they were second best to the basically everything, and up until late on when they got their goal, they never really looked like scoring. West Ham were by far the better team, getting the goals through Bowen and Zuma to go 2-0 up. But on another day, they could have easily drawn the game, Luton. They did have a penalty shout turned down for a James Ward-Prowse handball, which divides opinion. I've seen a lot of people saying they would give the penalty and a few saying they wouldn't. Personally, you don't like seeing penalties being given, but the letter of the law probably says that it should have been a penalty. Obviously his arm was above his shoulder, and it did brush his elbow on the way through, and diverted the ball away. So by the letter of the law, it should have been a penalty. And on another day, Luton could have got the draw, but ultimately it wouldn't have been deserved. West Ham were by far the better team and thoroughly deserved the 3 points. On to the early kickoff on the Saturday, and that was the battle of the relegation candidates. Sheffield United versus Everton. A game which could have gone either way. I think Everton as an 11 have a slightly stronger squad, but ultimately it was Sheffield United which were the better team on the day. Took some very, very good saves from Jordan Pickford in order to keep Everton in the game. Sheffield United could have easily gone on and won. Thought new signing Cameron Archer was exceptional. Obviously got the first good link-up play with Ollie McBurney, and then a very good shot for the second, which deflected off the post onto the back of Jordan Pickford and into the back of the net. But obviously Everton weren't lying down easily. Obviously they want to try and stay in the Premier League, and Danjuma got a late equaliser for them. On to Brentford versus Bournemouth. This was a game where Brentford dominated large parts of the game. Obviously being at home and having a slightly better squad, you'd understand. But Bournemouth, had scored 2 quick breakaway goals. I thought they'd done well, to be fair, Bournemouth. Obviously, I've predicted them to have a half-decent season, and they've got some very tough fixtures out the way now. And hopefully they can start picking up points against teams that are going to be more around them come the end of the season, and it's enough to guide them to comfortable safety. But obviously they did go ahead in this game. They did fail to see it out. It was an error by Rico Henry for Bournemouth's second. Good goal by Dominic Solanke for the first. Brentford's first goal by Matthias Jensen. It was an ingenious bit of play from the free kick, catching the keeper off guard. The ball obviously did go over the line. Took a fair few seconds for the referee to give it. I'm not sure why that was the case. I think it took about 10 seconds until he did blow it for the goal. Only for that man, Brian Mbeumo. He's saving everybody's Premier League FPL sides at the moment, including my own, and he went and got a late equaliser, meaning the points were shared. And on the balance of it, Brighton could find themselves pretty hard done by. They did hit the woodwork through Lewis Potter as well, but a draw ultimately was somewhat a fair result. On to Burnley versus Spurs, and one of the sides which has impressed me most this season so far in Spurs. Ange Ball is in full effect. A lot of people did say that they would struggle without Harry Kane. Obviously getting 28 goals last season is no mean feat, especially considering how much Spurs struggled in the season. But Heung-min Son has taken the armband and is leading his team forward. Obviously he got a hat-trick, first of the 3 over the weekend, and he played very well. He was quiet within the 90, but he took his goals very well. There was a lot of very good goals. Son's first with a little ding. Christian Romero scored a very good goal from just outside the area, hitting it into the top corner. And James Maddison getting the third. I thought it was very good link-up play with the whole team, and then he bent it into that far corner. Such a good goal, and he's another player which is thriving in the Spurs side and has taken another step up in his self-progression as well. Obviously, they ultimately won the game 5-2. Burnley did have a bit of a fight. They scored the early goal and won late on, but in between those 2 goals, it was all Spurs and thoroughly deserved the 3 points. And let me know where you think Spurs are going to finish this season. A lot of people at the start of the season had them probably around between the 6th and the 9th mark. Nobody thought they would get top 4. They didn't think the squad was deep enough, but obviously they made a very strong start. So like I said, let me know where you think they'll finish in the comment section, and see if any of your thoughts on Spurs and where they would finish has changed, considering the start they've made. On to Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. This game was very surprising. I did think Chelsea would get the win, but ultimately their starting lineup was very confusing for me. They have a lot of attacking talent on the bench, yet they chose to go with only 2 forwards starting the game in Jackson and Sterling, which ultimately played in Nottingham Forest's hands. They didn't have that many people to man mark up front. Yes, Enzo Fernandez did play in that attacking role. Chilwell got forward quite a lot, which allowed Colwell to play in that left back spot. But obviously it didn't work. Jackson missed a glorious chance, effectively an open goal from 5 yards, hitting over the bar. But other than that, there wasn't really many chances to note for Chelsea, considering the dominance of the ball over the 90 minutes. And Elanga scored the only goal of the game. Taiwo Awoniyi did very good with his ball through, playing it through Thiago Silva's legs, and then Elanga's composed finish past Sanchez. But yeah, I can't really complain about the result. I don't think Chelsea did enough to win the game, and I thought Nottingham Forest have continued their good start to the season. On to Man City versus Fulham, a result a lot of people would have seen coming. Obviously, Man City, best side in Europe currently, against a Fulham side who have lost a few players, had to recruit at the last minute. João Palhinha wasn't in the squad because obviously he was proposed to go to Bayern Munich. Ultimately, that didn't go through, so his head probably wasn't in the right place to play this game, which is understandable, but obviously a massive miss, and nobody else predicted anything other than a Manchester City win in this one. The result was emphatic as well, 5-1. Erling Haaland, another player, the second player of the week to grab a hat-trick, and he did play very, very well. And yeah, it's just a normal Manchester City result, really. Seeing them the only team perfect after 4 games in the Premier League, 4 wins from 4, and yeah, that's basically all you need to say about Man City. They're going to continue to win games and do it flattering, just like they did against Fulham this week. On to the big game of the Saturday, which was Brighton versus Newcastle, and turned out to be a very good game to watch. And it turned out to be Brighton who managed to rectify their losses from last week. Newcastle now back-to-back losses. Seeing them, they've had a very hard start to the season. They've played a lot of strong sides. Have Brighton, but have Newcastle. But yeah, Brighton did play very well this game. Obviously, Evan Ferguson, the standout player, scoring all 3 of Brighton's goals, and he was the last player of this game to secure himself a hat-trick and the match ball, first of his career, only 18 years of age. and what a talent he's going to turn out to be. On to Sunday, and it was 2 early fixtures. So first, Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Again, another struggling side in Wolves, away from home to a Crystal Palace side which looked to be full of energy and ultimately excitement for the team. I thought they built up a lot of attacks very well in this game. Eze in particular, I thought played outstanding. On another day he could have got 2 or 3 goals himself, but he did score a very good goal. Edouard scored early on. Yes, Wolves had a lot of fight back. They equalised the game at 1-1, only for Crystal Palace to go and grab 2, and then Mateus Cunha getting that late consolation goal for Wolves. But ultimately, Wolves are, somewhat rooted towards the rear end of the table at the moment, and it's going to be a hard season for them. You would think that this was a game that they could pick up points in, and they failed to do so, and they're going to have to start picking up points very quickly, or they're going to find themselves chasing the pack, which they're currently finding them doing so already. Second early kickoff was Liverpool versus Aston Villa, and I must say this was probably the best Liverpool have played all season, against a very astute Aston Villa side. A lot of people, including myself, predicted that they would this would cause Liverpool some sort of trouble, but it seemed to be quite plain sailing. Szoboszlai got the early goal, and it was quite a decent finish. And yeah, they just carried on from there then. Darwin Núñez causing trouble once again, just like he did against Newcastle. And then it was his shot back off the post which saw Matty Cash score the second own goal, and that was 22 minutes in. They could have easily saw the game out after 25 minutes when Joel Matip's free header went wide. He should have hit the target and ultimately should have done a lot better. But they won, and Aston Villa, even though they didn't play that well, were still in the game. After that, they did have their chances and could have easily scored themselves. I think Leon Bailey should have scored towards the end of the half, and on another day he could have easily taken that chance and the game could have been on for the second half. But Liverpool saw the game out well, and Mo Salah was at the back post to net Liverpool's third and only the last goal of the game, which saw Liverpool still undefeated in this campaign. 3 wins and 1 draw, sees them on 10 points and currently in 3rd place behind Tottenham and Manchester City. On to the last game, and this game did live up to expectations. Both teams didn't play at their ultimate best, and which made for a very exciting game. It was mostly even for the first 20-25 minutes before Rashford got their goal. And obviously Manchester United went 1-0 up, only for Odegaard to reply very quickly with a well-worked goal. Martinelli cutting it back, Odegaard on the edge of the box and hammered it past Onana. From then on, I think Arsenal started to gain momentum in the game. They had the better of the chances, and ultimately didn't put any away. And it wasn't until the 88th minute when it looked like Manchester United were going to win the game, only for a tight offside call for Garnacho. There's been uproar whether he was offside or not. The PGMOL have come out and stated that there's not just the one angle. They have access to many different angles, which can confirm that it definitely was offside. And then after that, Arsenal then went and got the 2 late goals from Declan Rice and Gabriel Jesus, seeing them to a 3-1 victory. Now, at the end of the game, Erik ten Hag came out and said there was 3 major decisions in that game that went against Manchester United, which was the main reasons why they didn't win this game. The first one was obviously the offside call. We've just discussed that and can confirm it was indeed offside. The second was the penalty shout from who was it? Rasmus Højlund from Gabriel, and it's one of them. On another day it would be given, but it wasn't on this day. It was a bit of 6 for one, half a dozen the other. They were both grabbing onto each other, and Gabriel did pull him down. Whether it was enough to give a penalty, the referees seem to be a lot more lenient this season with decisions like that. You see a lot more holding in the area, but like I said, on another day that could have been given as a penalty, but VAR decided to not give it. And then the last one was the Arsenal second goal. Ten Hag seemed to think that Johnny Evans was being held, and he got impeded in the area, which stopped him from getting toward Declan Rice for the goal. Again, it sits for one half, that doesn't the other. They were both grabbing onto each other, both pulling each other. So for me, it wasn't enough to give a foul on Johnny Evans, but you can quite easily see Ten Hag's frustrations. Ultimately his defender's getting blocked off, and he wasn't able to get to Rice, who scored the winning goal before Jesus went and put the ice on the cake. One of the main reasons why I think Manchester United lost this game was ultimately recruitment. The season ended, the transfer window ended only a matter of days ago. They knew Varane was out injured. Unfortunately, Martinez went off injured in this game also, which has left themselves very short in the centre-back position now. Luke Shaw can't cover there, he's out for a considerable amount of time. So is Malacia. So defensively now they are very, very stretched. But obviously they had time. They've had all summer to try and rectify this decision. A lot of it was because Maguire refused to leave, which would have freed up that a centre-back spot and some money in order to replace Maguire. Maybe they wouldn't have needed Johnny Evans to sign that full contract. They could have got another player, but ultimately it's the fact that there's the lack of funds and the lack of outgoings within the defensive positions, which meant that they wasn't able to recruit properly, which has kind of been Manchester United's downfall within the last 5-10 seasons. The recruitment hasn't been up to scratch, as opposed to the likes of Man City, Liverpool, and even Arsenal within the recent years, which has almost seen them fall behind these clubs in terms of quality on the pitch. But I think in Ten Hag they have a coach with the right mentality, has the right way of playing, and I think they will get back to the way in which they used to be. A successful club. Yes, they won the Carabao Cup last year and they finished in 3rd place, which was a good season. But it looks like at the start of the season it has been quite turbulent for them. Yes, they've played Spurs away, they've played Arsenal away. But even the games they won against Wolves, against Nottingham Forest, have been a massive struggle. And I think with the absence now in these defensive positions, I don't think it's going to get any easier for them anytime soon. Because their starting centre backs will have to be Maguire and Lindelof, or maybe Johnny Evans instead of Maguire. Depends on the pecking order at Manchester United. But I think I don't think obviously they'll win the league this season, but I do think they'll still finish within the top 4 positions. I think the top 4. I don't think I would change any of my top 4. I think it'd still be at this stage Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester United. But Spurs are running them quite close as it stands. But it is really early on, so we will see. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I think I've talked for long enough about Manchester United. I will see you in the next video, which will be the Game Week 4 Team of the Week. The pitch will be back, and like I said, if you like this video, give it a like. In the comment section, like I said, chuck down where you think Spurs will finish, where you had them finishing originally and where you think they'll finish now, and obviously subscribe if you're new. It only helps me out, and it means I can hopefully develop this channel a lot more in the future, because right now it's just me talking in my office, and I'd like to eventually branch out and maybe collab with other YouTubers, stuff like that. So anyway, like I said, if you like this video, give it a like. Other than that, I will see you in the next one. Peace.